I do remember.
I mean, I will say you're doing it right now. So you come to things like this, and actually, I think that's how I met Vincenzina. There was a summer school she was helping organize in Italy. I think that's how we met, if I remember right. And so you're building networks when you go to things like this. So you look around, if you make connections here, you make friends, you follow up, you go to another conference, you see them again, you make an intentional effort. And so I would say you're already starting to do it by the fact that you're here. Just do it a little, do it more. Be intentional about viewing the people in this room as your network that can grow. And you're right, who knows how all these things happen, but yeah, I've got probably more stories than y'all want to hear with these two.
So the story was, I was at a workshop like this in Europe, and I presented my postdoc paper, and Rudy was there. And afterwards he came and said, do you want to work with me on the personality auctions? And of course I did. And then we went to AEA and he said, how about we ask Jayson? And I didn't know you, but you said yes. So and then we worked together. So to me, that was like, just ask anybody. If you have an idea and you feel like this is the person that you want to work with, just go and ask them. Chances are very high that they will say yes to that. And then to Jayson's point, like, we have the group component in the workshop exactly for that. If your group works well and you're interested in your project and the idea, go do it. If it's on the site, it doesn't matter if it takes longer, but you get the experience, you build your network, you learn from each other, and most likely you get a paper out of that at the end.
Let me just say something too. I mean, as I mentioned, these workshops, but Carola organized a workshop in Germany that I was at. Vincenzina organized a workshop in Italy that I was at. So do something, like organize something, invite your mentors there, and make sure it's in Europe. Yeah, that's the thing. But I'm just saying they found collaborators not because they were idle and like hoping somebody, like they ran into somebody. They took active steps to build networks and get people together. And so you do that yourself, and I know that sounds like a lot, but you got two examples of people that really took an active role in creating, the networks that I think they relied on. And I'm glad they did it, because they made me much more productive than I would have been otherwise.
And it's really not that hard. It's a lot of work, but it's not that difficult. Like, David, we invited you at a post-conference workshop the first time, and ever since. And luckily you always say yes, and you will help us out, right? So and then you build your network. Again, at AEA, you can organize a pre-conference workshop, a post-conference workshop, invited sessions, track sessions. And when you organize that around a topic that you are passionate about, and you identify the people that are working on that, you invite them, you make contact with them, you build your network. And to me, there are only benefits to doing that.
Yeah, I will also add to this, don't be shy to reach out to people. Your career can be shaped by just an email sent to a random person you don't know. This is how my career started. It was 2009, I was in Italy from a very small school. My supervisor is completely unknown, my supervisor in Italy, and I decided to change my life, at least to give me a chance. And so I reached out to Rudy, and Rudy said, yeah, you come and you can work with me. And I did so. And then Jayson came in 2009 to give a seminar, and I was really kind of not pushy, but I was asking several questions. I really wanted to succeed. I really wanted to learn, and I was asking questions. And obviously then I also tried to be very active, organize those workshops in Italy. I'm, inviting people, and this is how I did so. I also would like to highlight that you really need to cultivate those relationships. It's not just I do this, and so I have this person working with me. You really need to connect with that person. So I feel like Jayson is a mentor, but also as a friend. If I have most of the time I call if I have a problem, or I ask him a suggestion. Same with Carola and David. So try to connect with that person. It's not only work. You are, people. And so don't forget that that element is very important.
So yeah, this is an interesting question, because I this is something I'm actually not very good at, is networking. So I've just been very lucky. But I would say a few things. First off, having that skill is incredibly important, and being willing to open your mouth and talk, and specifically to get conversations going about the research topics you're interested in, the type of research you want to do. Those sorts of conversations at conferences are going to lead somewhere, a reasonable portion of the time. I have found it actually very, very productive to cold call somebody who I thought would be good to work with and invite them to work with me on something. That actually is a reasonable approach. But what I will say is probably the most productive approach I found as a early career professor or academic was putting grant proposals together with the idea of, I'm going to approach some bigger names in the field that I'd like to work with. And I sort of upfront say, well, okay, I have this idea for this grant, and I'm intending to do sort of the bulk of the work on this, but it'd be really great to get your name on this, because USDA would be more likely to fund it if you're on this than if I'm here by myself. And this usually starts a good relationship, at least if you actually bring the goods and really do perform on your part of the work. That ends up building a pretty good relationship, and a lot of those sorts of relationships can persist, and that also starts to get you in a good position where you have a good relationship with the funder, and you're able to go for larger and larger grants, right? So I think about these as the relationships themselves matter, and they're the things that you're going to probably value the most at the end of the day. But these also are going to be able to create additional resources for you and additional opportunities for you as your career continues, right?
I just wanted to make the point that really what Vincenzina said, ask a lot of questions. When I was a postdoc, I was in Canada, and I mentioned in passing to a grad student there that I had emailed Vic Adamovich because my model didn't run, and he had said, send me the data, and he ran it and he said, this is what you did wrong. And the student said, you told him you don't know? And that thought was so far from my mind, and I was like, well, I guess that's right, but now I know what I did wrong. And I think in our profession, I would say most people, it's like, it's okay to not know. That's why we are here. So ask us all the questions and learn from it. You will be much faster. And it's, yeah, ask a lot of questions.